Being the starting location for the best-selling book and TV series Roots, the Gambia was once known as having the waypoint of the transatlantic slave trade through Kunta Kinte Island. The country is now referred to as the Smiling Coast of Africa. This country has close to 600 species of birds, a sacred crocodile pool where tourists can visit up close, and an election voting system that uses marbles to pick out candidates. Despite the lack of infrastructural development, there is still growth in the Gambian economy. By the end of this video, you'll learn a little bit about the history of the Gambia and also investment opportunities available to you for you to pursue, so definitely watch till the end. Named after the Gambia River, the Gambia gained its independence in February 18, 1965. Now, notice the shape of the country. So basically, the reason why it looks this way is during colonization, the British once had control of the region of today's Gambia territory, while the French had control of today's Senegal region. They made an agreement for Britain to take control of the area around the Gambia River, hence why the Gambia looks weird and odd the way it does. The Gambia is the smallest country in mainland Africa, roughly the same size as Connecticut. Since only the main highway roads are watched carefully, it is easy for someone to enter into Gambia through the fields bordering Senegal. There are no significant natural resources or minerals, and about 10% of the country is water due to the river and geography of the country, with around 50% of the land being arable. Banjul is the capital of Gambia, and Serekunda is the largest populated city in the country. Since the country is situated around the river, there are a lot of wetlands and swamps which support great biodiversity. They have a long history of cultivating peanuts. The American groundnut was introduced to West Africa by the Portuguese in the 16th century and spread slowly as a fairly drought-resistant diet supplement. Because of demand for kitchen oil, industrial oils, and fats were booming in the early 19th century in Europe and America, it was necessary to import groundnut and palm oil imports from this tropical region. This slowly led to a commercialization of the agriculture sector in the Gambia during the 19th century. What ensued after was the groundnut trade replacing the slave trade after 1805. The country's main roads are the North and South Bank roads. There are over 1,678 miles of road in the Gambia, 35% of which are paved. Roads in and around Banjul are mostly sealed, with the unsealed roads being impassable in the rainy season. Resources for energy production are extremely limited, whereas the electricity supply is entirely reliant on diesel generators. All petroleum products are imported. Wood is used for domestic fuel supplies, but alternative energy sources are being developed. The use of groundnut shells for fuel and solar energy output is expanding. River ports need to be updated, as does the port in Banjul. The country is currently divided into 8 local government areas, and they use the Gambian Dalasi as their currency. The population is about 2 million people, and the country is actually one of the least militarized countries in the world. As far as the makeup of ethnicities in the country, about 40% of the people are from the Mandinka tribe, 20% from the Fula tribe, 16% from the Wolof tribe, 10% from the Jola tribe, and 14% of other ethnicities. 80% of the population lives off of subsistence farming, and subsistence farming accounts for 1/3 of the economy's GDP and 70% of the country's foreign exchange earnings. Seafood and peanuts are the country's main cash crops, with the Gambia's major trading partners being the current corporate tax rate sits at 30%. Disputes over land ownership and use are a major problem in the Gambia. There are occasional disagreements in rural areas, mainly in the West Coast region, over land ownership or succession. Most conflicts occur when community leaders sell a plot of land to multiple buyers. The Lands Office, which is responsible for recording and maintaining deeds, relies on outdated manual record-keeping system with no digitization of land records, hindering efficiency and effectiveness and exacerbating land ownership conflicts. On a positive note, the government has drastically reduced the average number of days it takes to start a business in recent years from 25 days to 2. The limited amount of manufacturing is primarily agricultural based. For example, peanut processing, bakeries, brewery, tannery. Other manufacturing activities involve soap, soft drinks, and clothing. Energy through use of solar and wind energy. Currently, 98% of the power generated and distributed by the National Water and Electricity Company is sourced from fossil fuels. Several other options for renewable energy remain heavily underexplored. Agriculture is the most important sector in the Gambia economy and one of the priority areas of development, such as horticulture, animal production, agriculture mechanization, agro-industries, and agro-business. Given the small size of the manufacturing sector, virtually all construction materials are imported. These materials include cement, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical materials, and major household appliances. The market for materials for small-scale construction projects is dominated by imports from China and India. Road construction is also an area that needs serious improvement. The Gambia economy does not have in place any existing backup systems infrastructure, which is also a problem shared by the private sector. Cloud technologies present an affordable fail-safe option to disaster recovery, while also presenting opportunities for rolling out e-services in the Gambia. Tourism is arguably the fastest growing sector in the Gambian economy and accounts for roughly 20% of the country's gross domestic product. River sports and cruising are very much desired. So think about when you travel to places, you will pay good money to experience those activities. So this is why they're really trying to develop this sector. Now, if I'm going to do any type of investment in this country, there's 3 areas that I would focus on, just because the needs of the country, the history of them being in these industries, and just the development of these sectors that can really provide a lot of jobs for a lot of people. So the first place I'll be looking at is the tourism sector. There's just tourism in Gambia has always been there, especially with European tourists that come over and they spend their money. The beaches of Gambia, I heard, is really, really nice, and I do plan to visit it at some point, but I will focus on the tourism sector because that industry, for the most part, is developed and it's already there. The government understands that they need to make sure that this industry is improving because it brings so much money to their GDP. So if they want to grow, they understand that you can't mess this up. You got to be there. You got to make sure that you have everything that you need to improve on the tourism sector. I also read about how they do have an agency that checks hotels that are in the Gambia, and they try to make sure that these hotels are like 5-star hotels and restaurants, and that they're actually really, really legit. So when you go to Gambia, I've seen enough information, data, and videos that the hotels, the restaurants are really, really good, especially if you get European tourists that historically has always went over to the Gambia in order to relax and get on vacation. So the tourism sector is one area I'll be looking at. The second one I'll be looking at is manufacturing. So because of the road issue, I think it's over 50% of the roads are unpaved, and then when it's the rainy season, you can't pass through them. This can hinder tourism. People want to explore the country, so when you have foreigners coming to explore, of course, this is where you start to get the money. Now, I'm thinking, okay, well, if you can't pass through these roads, or if it rains, or the weather dictates how far you can go into the country, I'm just like, okay, there needs to be a solution for this problem. So I'll be looking at road construction, road engineering. I'll be focusing on that industry because I know if that's improved, then it can just enhance the quality of life in the rest of the Gambia. And also, it's not just the Gambia that has issues with roads. I'm sure we all know in West Africa that there's so many roads that need development And even sometimes when these governments are able to fix these roads don't last. So for me, it's not just Gambia. It can also be some way I can export services, and then of course the country, the Gambia, will be appreciative of this because now they're exporting. It's increasing their own GDP, and it's just good for everyone. So yeah, so I'll be looking at the manufacturing area as far as just road engineering, and then the third one that I'll look at is I think it goes without saying, agribusiness. Anything that's dealing with agriculture, but not necessarily just farming, subsistence farming. In this case, I'll be looking at anything that's related to the agribusiness and adding value to the value chain so that I can export what I do. And then also for the local economy, enough food, enough fresh food for people to eat. I'll want to focus on that. And when I think about it, I don't really know any, or I'm ignorant on any West African company or African company that has large scale manufacturing operation when it comes to the production of food. A lot of the operations I hear about are just smaller, or it's just farmers, and then they export the raw products, import the completed products from internationally, and it's just a loss of revenue. So I will focus on finding a way to really have industrial size farming productivity. Yeah, I will focus on that. And of course, you can, if you're good at it, then you can make it like a chain, or you can have replica industries in other countries in West Africa. But that's what I'll also focus on, is just how can I make some type of large scale operation where it provides enough food or enough value for the local economy, and then I'm able to export, because all these countries want to export. They want to increase their exports instead of always importing. So I'll look to, and the only way you're going to get there is if you actually have large scale operations in place so that you can actually do that. So I will focus on the agribusiness as well. So that's tourism, manufacturing or road engineering, and agribusiness are the three industries that I will focus on. If you're interested in an entrepreneurial story, I have one for you. Dried mango for the export market. The Zambia entrepreneur stumbles upon a lucrative market while going through tough times. I'll leave the link in the description for you to follow at your leisure. So, does this video help you better understand Gambia's economy? Or are there any relevant topics you would like for me to do a video on? If you do, definitely leave a message in the comment section down below. And also, don't forget to check out this video's description so you can see the helpful sources that I left in this video. For one, I do have a course on how you can build a solid business foundation that can help you achieve generational wealth. You can check that out. Or if you have a more specialized situation, your situation is a little bit unique as far as the business direction you're trying to go, then you can definitely go to my website, businesscenter101.com, and you can book a consulting session with me. I'll also leave a link to an ebook that talks about 50 ways that you can be a millionaire in Nigeria. Now, these ideas you can also implement anywhere in the African continent, but it does, what I like about this ebook, that it does give you a breakdown on each idea, and basically a comparative analysis on why it can work, what you need to do. SWOT analysis is a part of it as well, and just case studies of industries that are actually doing well over there. So you can check that out completely free. Just click on the link in this video's description and you'll definitely get to it. Now, I hope this video was what you was expecting, and I hope it was helpful. If you do want to join the West African tribe, then definitely click subscribe and also click on the bell so that you're alerted when I do release new videos. Now, if you know anyone that can benefit from this video, definitely like and share this video with them. And I'll catch you in the next video.